In this video, we'll prepare a full Week 8 cash lineup on the main slate on DraftKings. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee along with Michael Wiley. Michael, where are we going to start in our Week 8 cash lineup?
Well, as usual, let's start with running back. We'd love to start at that position. And gosh, things have changed a little bit with McCaffrey going to the Niners, with Taylor not necessarily producing as everyone thought he would. We're in a situation where the number 1 and 2 performing fantasy players are Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley. Right. But Saquon Barkley is the guy I'm going for here at Seattle, who's been atrocious against the run. Look at what Saquon has done basically every week this season. A ridiculous 28 touches last week after 25 the week before and 33 2 weeks before that. Just an absolute beast right now, both in terms of his fantasy and his team performance, leading his team to second best record in the league right now. I really like what we're seeing out of Saquon Barkley, and we're going to see it again this week against Seattle.
Gosh,
what
Michael,
do you want to go from there?
He is so important to this New York Giant offense, but you know who also is really important to his team is Derrick Henry. Just get a load of this. In the last 4 games, he's averaged nearly 28 touches a game. That's insane. 28 touches a game. And he inherits this week the dream matchup of matchups, facing the Houston defense. As a running back, there's no better defense to face. Now, look, I know it's DraftKings, and Henry doesn't get involved in the passing game like some of the other elite running backs. But because of the touches I talked about and because of the matchup, I really like him at only 8,400.
Yeah, great bargain. And I can go with someone who's even more of a bargain because he costs a lot less when we go to the wide receiver position. He's not the top 5 in the top 5 of fantasy performers, but he's in the next 5 of fantasy performers. And he's got a really nice matchup going up against my Raiders. It's Chris Olave at only $6,000, even though he's performing so well. He still has his counterparts out. He's definitely getting the most targets for his team. Look at a ridiculous 14 targets this last week after maybe a couple of down weeks, but 13 each of the second and third weeks of the season. He's performing even when he doesn't get in the end zone. Look at the fantasy points each week. Chris Olave is who I want to go with at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, love his matchup. And I don't know if Jarvis Landry and Michael Thomas, they're both questionable, will play this week, but it doesn't matter. This is the guy who's the new number 1 wide receiver on the New Orleans Saints. So yes, let's get him in the lineup. Now, I know it may appear that we're spending a lot of money, and that is true. But, you know, why stop a good thing? Spend money and worry about the consequences later. Man, I really like CeeDee Lamb at $7,000. Look, Dak Prescott is back, and that has to be a good thing for CeeDee Lamb. Inexplicably, it wasn't last week. Very weird game against Detroit. They had 3 rushing touchdowns as they won 24-6. That's not going to happen every week. I expect them, even though admittedly Chicago, you attack them more on the ground than in the air. I just think at $7,000, the upside you can get and the floor at CeeDee Lamb with Prescott as the QB, too good to pass up.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so, like you say, look what we've already done with these top picks. So what are we going to have to do because of that? We're going to have to save us some money. We've got something special for you guys at the quarterback position. But before we go there, let's talk about a guy who's got a quarterback name because he gets his receptions from a guy with almost the exact name at $4,700. Pittsburgh Steelers, George Pickens, who's been averaging 7 targets a game for the last 5-6 games. Ever since Pickett's been in the at the helm, got himself a touchdown this week, so his fantasy production has been really nice for those over that 5-week period. except for when he was up against Tampa Bay. And they had they had a nice win against them. The Pittsburgh Steelers, George Pickens, I think this is a nice $4,700 bargain.
Yeah, I expect that they'll be behind in this game at Philadelphia, so there'll be plenty of opportunities for him to catch passes. All right, so what I would actually like to do, because I'm going to do something special at tight end and defense, I'm going to skip ahead to the flex spot. Ken Walker the third at 6,500. Let me tell you the situation, folks. I watch almost every play of every Seattle Seahawks game. Pete Carroll wants to run the ball. Unless game script gets out of their way, expect him to run the ball. Look at the last 2 weeks as Ken Walker has taken over the starting job because Rashad Penny is out for the rest of the year. They were ahead most of the game, and they heavily relied on Ken Walker with 23 rushes and 21 rushes. So this week, they face the New York Giants. They are home, meaning Seattle is home, and they're favored by 3 points. So the lines makers think from a game script perspective, it should at least be close, are likely the Seahawks actually ahead. And look how poorly the New York Giants have done this year against the rush. For all those reasons, really like Ken Walker the third this week.
Yeah, no, the Seahawks have always really rewarded some of their top running backs. He's clearly the number one guy right now. So let's talk for a minute about the quarterback position. Eric, there's a special bargain right now. You never see this in DraftKings at the cheapest price you can get at a quarterback, $4,000. You can get the Indianapolis Colts quarterback. It's Sam Ehlinger from out of Texas. He's sixth round pick this year. Indy have confirmed that this isn't related to Matt Ryan's injury. This is where they're going right now. You know, he really was a gunslinger at Texas, University of Texas, during his career, throwing for 3,200 and 3,600 yards during his 2018 and 2019 seasons. Before that shortened 2020 season, which was also a really good year for him as well. One of the top college passer ratings. There's a couple of reasons to go with him. The number one is, let's face it, the price. You just don't get an opportunity to go with a guy at this price. But Washington's also very weak against the pass. While we haven't necessarily been very happy with what Indianapolis has done in the passing game, there's a reason for that, and it's because Matt Ryan is really struggling with this offense. Sometimes it's really nice for a guy to come off the bench in a situation like this and have a chance to do something new. And I really believe that the way you bring a quarterback in is you create some nice, easy passing situations for him. Yes, they will run the ball a lot this week, but he is a gunslinger. I'm pretty excited about the $4,000 price tag.
Yeah, and he has a couple weapons, right? Michael Pittman Jr. is a great wide receiver. Nyheim Hines out of the backfield, as well as Jonathan Taylor. And what I like, had to actually research this, Michael, a little bit, look at some college film, because I wasn't familiar with the guy, to be honest with you. And he's mobile. You know, he's going to take off and run a little bit. He's no Lamar Jackson, but he's going to give you some stuff on the ground. That really helps his floor. And it is easy to have a good floor at only $4,000. So that's great. So look at this, Michael. We only have $5,300 total to spend on our tight end and our defense. So let me at least tell you who I would initially like to have in our defense. I'd like to not go bargain basement and pick the LA Rams. Why? Well, they're at home and they're favored. That's not bad. Let's talk a little bit about the fact that they're coming off a bye. So they're really well rested as they host the Niners in a big divisional rivalry game. Garoppolo is not the most mobile quarterback, so he is susceptible to being sacked. So at 2,700, I do like the Rams pick here.
Yeah, no, they actually obviously were one of the top defenses last year. They haven't quite picked it up this year, but they still have a couple of those studs at the defensive line position. I like it, but you only have $2,600, Eric. What are you going to do at the tight end position?
I'm going to pick George Kittle and just ask for an IOU for DraftKings. No, I guess I can't do that. So I got two options for you guys. One option is selecting Brock Wright, and let's hope we're not wrong with Brock Wright. So here's the deal with him. Only caught one pass before last week. But what you have to do is pay close attention to the Detroit Lions passing attack. If you look at their wide receivers, we have DJ Shark, who is not going to play. He is on our IR. Williams is out. So the real question is, what is going to be the status of Amon St. Brown? He had a very serious concussion last week. He may not play this week. And even if he plays, remember on NFL DFS Master Class, statistics show guys coming off concussion protocol usually don't perform as well. So I think that what happened last week, they relied on their tight ends more. And they relied on Wright even more than TJ Hawkinson. He outgained TJ Hawkinson. Now, that's not going to happen very often. But if he can just duplicate what he did last week, he's well worth the 2,500. Any comment on that, Michael?
No, I mean, I think what we've done here is we've decided we were going to pay up for our running backs and a couple of our wide receivers. We were able to get this quarterback position and this tight end position with things that we didn't mind for a really low price tag to make that happen, giving us a pretty nice floor and some upside to go with it.
Just a real quick pivot. If Amon St. Brown is playing and you think he's healthy, and you just have a little bit of concern about the right pick, then what one suggested pivot is, now this would mean doubling up on the Seahawks, which I don't really like, but maybe you're not starting Ken Walker in your lineup. Noah Fant is at only $2,800. So you can sneak him in your lineup. He's done pretty well, not last week where he was coming off an illness, but the two previous weeks. And I think he's a good pick, especially if DK Metcalf is out. It is more likely than not that Metcalf is going to miss this game. It's not certain. But I think they're going to feature him even more along with Will Dissly if Metcalf is out. Now, obviously, I went over $200. You'd have to pay down on your defense. Pick your defense. I would probably go with the Bears. Any final comments, Michael, about the lineup?
No, I like that pivot. I like this lineup. I'm pretty excited about what it's going to do this week.
All right. What we normally do is we would put out our favorite GPP stacks, but we got to do one better this week. We're going to give you a full GPP lineup, but to see that, click on the video, which is on your screen now. And also, when available, it will be our FanDuel cash and GPP lineup on your screen. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.